Oh my god! But yeah, speaking of one thing I wrote down as we were talking right there, but we were talking about interesting credits. Uh, one of my favorite
Oh man.
one of my favorite pieces of credits in any movie ever goes to the movie I recommended Rob and Brennan, Fateful Findings by Neal Green. So, and I do want to start this off by saying I was watching Mean Guns right before we recorded. Just because I had some other stuff that I had to get done before I could do this, but so everything was kind of last second. But as I'm finishing up Mean Guns, I got messages from both of you simultaneously. Rob, you had said something like, "Wow, that was awful," and then Brennan it just followed up with, "I'm so mad at you right now." So please elaborate.
Well, let me say this. So, first of all, you sent us a whack ass link. It was really hard to figure out, especially for me as like somebody that's like on my iPhone here. So
Yeah.
I had to wait until Rob figured it out on Pornhub.
Okay.
And then like it also took me a minute. So here's the thing. On Pornhub in general, I'm a guy who always looks at the comments. And so like my instincts also took over. And at the bottom of the comment section was a guy who said, I had to watch this for a podcast, and I wish I hadn't.
Oh no!
God, I've never felt
Rob?
more on board with this human being.
Well, that was me from the future.
Oh my god. So I guess a really quick summary. Neal Breen is a breakout, very
Maniac,
strong
a man who needs to be put down.
He is a strong, powerful voice for the independent film movement. He has made
hard disagree.
He has made five feature films so far. Recently, he's producing a documentary on the making of all five of his movies, which is yet to be released.
Thank God he's making that for everyone.
Fateful Findings
Does
is
he
the...
wait, hold up.
Yeah.
Does he legally have to release that as like proof of like him not doing like shit on set or whatever?
No. So
the movie that he released here that we're talking about today, this guy's a fucking creep. Especially because the casting.
Really is.
Especially because
Jacob.
What I
Jacob,
realized he's a casting guy too. I was like, God.
Yeah. You gotta know, Jacob, because I've never seen his other movies. I've only seen the supercuts.
I've seen.
Is there this much nudity in all of his movies?
So there's
partial nudity.
Partial. I was about to say how much nudity.
And specifically him. Specifically him.
There's a great there's an infamous shot in his first movie where he's in a public pool with a woman, and they're both naked and they're floating face down, and we get a very good shot of the gooch for a solid like 10 seconds.
Okay.
But the whole documentary thing is I
want them to see it.
That was a promise that he the documentary was a promise that he was fulfilling because his last movie was crowdfunded. I haven't seen his most recent movie yet, but from what I understand, it's the most hilarious thing that he's done. It's just impossible to find a copy of anything that he's released unless you buy his DVDs, which are like $40 a piece, and all you get is the movie. So,
to put it nicely, Neal Green looks and acts and makes movies, like he is the incest child of Steve Guttenberg. That is who Neal Green is. All right.
Okay.
Well, I want to say, like, I looked at his Wikipedia, and I have this, like, Jacob, you've said so bad it's good. Brennan, you've said that too. I have this thing about these so bad it's good movies where it's like, hey, let's not encourage some of these people. Like, some of these people shouldn't be encouraged to make these films.
I also agree with that, Rob.
And he himself, in his Wikipedia page, apparently he was like an architect.
He still is.
And
a
real estate. So my whole thing is like, this is just a rich asshole who like decided in the early aughts, he was like, oh wow, it's really easy for like rich people to get their hands on like nice high quality cameras now. I'm gonna make a movie.
High quality. This movie is so much easier to see than the fucking Mean Guns.
Yeah, okay, Mean Guns
That's
is
the only nice thing I can
97.
say about this movie.
They filmed it on the first Nokia phone.
If you ever look at his the first movie he made, it looks like it was ripped straight out of the 80s, and it's from 2005. So if that's any consolation.
Is that the one where he's in the desert with computers and shit?
Double Down.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Me and I have high school videos that look better than this.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. Like, we've got like mass media projects that are like way better than this shit.
Exactly. But I am a hard disagree with you guys. I want to see more of what this guy does. I find him fascinating. I want to see more of whatever weird.
Neal Green.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. You know what? I got major. So Rob and I have just watched the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks. Like, that is fresh in our memory.
Oh yeah, he is a Twin Peaks character.
I've
heard him described as a Tim and Eric sketch.
Well, yes, there's that.
That gives him too much credit.
No, exactly. There is no. But here's what I would say is he's a man who the only media, like, he's never read a book or seen a movie or a TV show. The only thing he's ever seen is the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks. And they allowed him, he's got money, and they allowed him to make a movie. And so that's just what he knows as a normal movie. Like, that's the kindest thing I can say to him, because there's some weird shit going on in here. There's like a book that's almost like the fucking Obelisk out of 2001.
Well, this is the least interesting plot. This is the least interesting plot of the movies of what I know.
Okay.
This is the least interesting story.
What would you say is the best thing that he's done so far? Because I think it's this.
I've only seen the supercuts. That's my issue. I've read all the synopses.
Which, by the way, actually, here, Brennan, tell me what you. I want to get really quick, since you're Rob, so you're familiar with it. Brennan, I'm going to give you a good sense of the dynamic range this guy has as a writer. Okay, so his first movie is called Double Down. All right, he plays a hacker who lives out in the desert who wants to expose government secrets for their corruption and terribleness.
Brennan, you're right.
I have a question.
He's seen Twin Peaks season 1, and he's seen Hackers with Angelina Jolie.
That's a good point. I have a question.
Yeah.
In any of these movies, does he get at all specific about the secrets that he has exposed?
I think we all know what the secrets. We all know what he's talking about.
Okay, wait.
Actually,
I actually have something about this. I actually have something about
this. Suicide montage at the end of the movie. It's not Michael christening his child, but it's and all of these people committing suicide.
But anyway, really. So Double Down, hacker in the desert trying to expose government secrets. His next movie, I Am Here Now, and we got to emphasize that because there's 4 periods in between here and now, is about
one more than an ellipses.
yeah.
Neal in I Am Here Now. Neal Green is space Jesus from another galaxy who has created all life on Earth and has come down to punish the people he deems bad for failing as a human species. Fateful Findings is about a hacker who wants to expose government secrets for corruption and prove how evil the government really is.
He's a writer.
He's a writer. Okay, yeah. Okay, so a little bit different. Pass Through and Twisted Pair, his 2 most recent movies.
Yeah, 2016, 2018 or whatever.
Yeah, he is a cybernetic being from the future who has created all life on planet Earth, who wants to come down and punish the human species for their failures to thrive.
It's the Breenverse.
He's a Scientologist reformist, which those guys are really fucking crazy. And this guy is just so up his own ass about everything. I mean, it's nuts. Well, it's one thing to put yourself. It's because we watched Jim Cummings put himself in a movie, and not once does he prop himself up on a pedestal. This guy's just jumping pedestal to pedestal like fucking Mario.
Can we talk about the way he types?
Yes.
Oh my god. There's so much to talk about the fucking computers. I have 2 things. I gotta get through something.
Coffee.
Hold on. Well, I got two things. One with the secrets. I just want to bring up. I read the wiki synopsis for this movie.
Okay.
The Wikipedia for this movie and his Wikipedia are written sarcastically.
Yes.
They are, the whole article is
Definitely.
written, the synopsis, it's all sarcastic. And the one that they quote it 4 times in this wiki synopsis, they quote, the whole thing is him trying to find, I quote, the most secretive government and corporate secrets. That is the quote. It's the most secretive secrets you could possibly find.
And not only that, but you want to talk about on-the-nose dialogue. The very first scene we see him in his office, he's typing, and he stops to say to himself, I'm going to continue to hack into these government databases to see what I can find about all this national and international corruption that I know is going on.
Wait, here it is. Here's a quote from that scene. I have a damn master's degree in computer science, and I turn out to be a writer, ... of novels.
Of novels, yeah. So this movie is like,
first shot of his desk, 3 laptops. I just
yeah,
want to make sure that.
and like none of them are on.
None of them are on.
Yeah, but like.
That's the other thing about his movies is there's like to answer. I didn't even answer your question, but the nudity is constant. The laptops getting broken is constant. The magical rocks
broken laptops.
The magical rock and or magical item is constant. The women not wearing bras is constant.
How about the children? How about the children are
constant?
Girls?
Well, not okay. This is the only one where we have a thing like that, but there are other movies he's done
where
you have terrible children actors.
Evolving as a filmmaker. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's like as a pedophile.
He's like, I finally got around to Woody Allen's film.
I'm sorry, Jacob. I'm sorry. I've been using the word pedophile. Your listeners might prefer a phebophile. I know.
Oh my God.
I know that's what they've been going by recently. But I'm not trying to alienate them. I don't condone any of their shit, though.
Yeah, it's a disease.
Fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so sorry, Brent. You were saying I cut you off. What were you saying?
I mean, I think I was probably about to lead into the fact that this dude. It's super weird. This guy just has made a movie where like. A girl
just touching. Like...
I don't like. Okay, so I did not look into if she is underage. But
no,
like,
she's not. She's not.
In the context of the movie, it feels very much that way.
Yeah.
And I just do not care for that at all.
I'm pretty sure it's expressly like said.
Pretty much.
Well,
yeah.
I'll also say this. Here's the thing. I started the movie. I was very upset. It really sucked for a little bit, and then he gets hit by a car, and that was very funny. It made me laugh a lot.
Yeah, but wait, spoil. Oh, well, also, it's so funny the way he drops his phone too and bends over. That's how he gets hit.
There's a point that someone made where you could take any scene out of this movie and put it in black and white and put like elevator music behind it and have an announcer go, "Are you tired of this happening to you?" And you have instant infomercial fodder.
Also, everybody is spiking the camera. Yeah. Every single one, every single actor is looking right in the fucking camera. Especially his, wife who has a non-American accent.
Whoa, and here's actually
implaceable.
But
he was compared a couple minutes ago to Tim and Eric, or a Tim and Eric sketch.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to compare him to Tim and Eric on, it's like this guy is obviously working with no-name actors, same as Tim and Eric. This guy somehow makes the Tim and Eric no-name actors look like Hollywood A-list stars.
Yeah.
Like the guys,
some of them are. I mean, like Ray Wise.
People no, I know, but I'm talking about the real deep cut, like no name people.
Well, I mean, you got the guy from.
Well,
I think you should leave.
My point is that these people in this Neal Breen movie look like they are so desperate to get their SAG card, and he's just like printing them out of his van. Like,
it's not entirely
good.
Not entirely fair though, because Jim has gone on to be on an episode of Pawn Stars. the guy who gets murdered, and that girl that we keep on talking about.
Poor Jim.
The girl that we were talking about is now like a famous Instagram model. So
okay,
we all got to start somewhere.
None of this has any. Oh my god.
Well, Jacob, do you think how many pedophiles you fucking think saw this movie and were like, I gotta fucking follow this girl on Instagram, and of course now she's famous.
Exactly.
All right, of course now. I don't mean to be like rude or dark, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But also, I want to just once again. This guy should not be allowed to do what he is doing.
To go out of the house.
This guy, we are in quarantine right now. This guy should be in constant quarantine. You know how at CIA black sites, they dose you up with LSD and then they play really awful Barney episodes? This guy is that. And you should keep him locked up in a fucking black site. that doesn't belong in the real world.
So, Jacob, I want to know.
Oh, I hated this movie.
It was at a certain point, Rob was like, I'm scrubbing around a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was
hey, that's our secret, Brennan, you piece of shit.
Well, no, you'd seen the supercut. You got the gist of it. You saw the important parts.
And I also scrubbed 20 minutes myself. And then, I saw a bunch of stuff. This guy just being wild with pills and bullshit.
Most importantly, did you see for everything we've said about for everything we've said about Neal Green, I feel like I need to make sure. Did you see the most compelling scene in the whole movie where Jim unfortunately commits suicide?
Yes, he does not do it, but yeah, his wife kills him, yes, obviously. And then the daughter comes and is like, you killed him. And she's like, go inside. No, I didn't. No, you just saw that. And she puts it down. It's wild as hell. No, I wish
that I could step inside Neal Green's head and imagine, because you got to imagine he was like, this is my moment. This is my Oscar. This was in Ed Wood where Johnny Depp is like, this is the one they're going to remember me for. That was happening in Neal Green's head when he smeared that blood across his cheek and he said, I cannot believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe that you committed suicide.
I can't.
Dude, I gotta pull the Wikipedia again.
All right, sorry, I keep cutting you off, Brennan. What were you saying? I'm sorry. You were scrubbing around. You skipped 20 minutes.
I was just gonna say, I was very close to just watching Ghost Rider 2 instead, and just trying to fuck with you and just not just do that instead of this. But I decided to show some respect because it was so easy to watch it, and there's so much of this movie you can. I really wasn't doing anything else because I had to watch it on my phone. I couldn't use my phone for anything else.
Yeah.
But there's so much of this movie that I can just look around my room and be away from it.
You were watching this and you're like, wow, my room's actually a lot bigger than I thought it was. In the most real funny terms, I was just thinking about somebody who was mean to me on Instagram recently. And I was able to zone out with that for a little bit. And for some reason, it was more comforting. Yeah, well, it's like when you sit down to take a shit and you realize that you don't have your phone after you've already started taking the shit, so there's no going back. There's no going back to. There's you're stuck in 2002. That's it. I wanted to just talk about the computers.
Yeah.
So on his desk, he starts with 3 computers, laptops, none of them turned on, just slamming the keys with his fingers too. His typing is incredible.
So limp-wristed.
Well, and it's he's adopted this typing style of not looking at the keyboard. Yeah. And I think in his mind, he thinks it implies, I'm so smart, I don't even need to make sure I'm not making mistakes.
Comical, though. It really truly looks comical, as if somebody was in a comedy movie as a person that was pretending to
Like whenever you see someone
Yeah.
trying to play a video game in a movie and you can tell they're just mashing buttons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It looks like a Sims typing on a keyboard.
Yeah. And so, okay, so he has 3 laptops. He's typing on the one, and then he passes out and spills coffee all over that laptop.
Yeah.
I have never spilled coffee on my laptop, but I have gone out of my way to avoid spilling coffee on my laptop because I know what happens when you do that, when you spill a liquid on a laptop. So we fast forward 2 scenes. We're back at the desk. Now 4 laptops sit on the desk. Now we're at 4 laptops, none of them turned on.
Yes,
it makes sense
good point.
because laptop 1 has been destroyed. He needed to replace it, right? So he's got 4 laptops now. He did, yeah, but that's the other thing. He didn't just take one of the other laptops and say, "All right, this is the one I'm using now." He got another laptop to it because those 2 laptops, they are doing what they need to be doing. They're essential where they are. So we're at 4 laptops on his desk. And we get to this scene with his wife where they go from like impassioned conversation, I think, to argument to like laughing giddy sex in his office. And during this scene,
that is crazy.
During this scene, he like it's that thing where it's like I gotta push all this stuff off my desk to fuck this woman. But he like one by one takes one laptop and just drops it. Grabs the other laptop, he throws so much paper up in the air. He just keeps ripping each other's shirts. They're ripping each other's shirts. Like, he destroys the office. And then later in the movie, because like we never really get a feel on which laptop is which because 3 of them look the same.
Yeah.
He's typing again. And my question for you is, as a filmmaker, how can you not show me that you are currently using a working laptop when I've seen you destroy all the other laptops?
I think it's just an unspoken. I think it's an unspoken rule that hackers just have a closet full.
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking like maybe he got the one laptop because only the keyboard broke when he spilled the coffee. I was like, maybe he just needs a new keyboard to use. Yeah. Hackers, man.
But yeah, no, there's I think I don't remember if I said it earlier, but there is, if for whatever reason you decide you want to go back and check out more of this guy's filmography, there is a drinking game based on all the tropes of his movies that is very, very fun to play. I've done it once or twice with several of my other college friends, and I guarantee you'll be wasted by at least 20 minutes into the movie.
Jacob, can I be real with you, man?
Yeah.
I like really struggle with addiction in a lot of ways, and I'm like trying to deal with it. I love getting fucked up. Mm-hmm. This movie made me want to get sober. This movie, I was like, I can't take it anymore. I need to get back to ground zero. Shit like this is being made. I need to hit reset. All right. So, I'll see you in 30 days.
I just gotta say, like, Neal Green naked in the shower made me very uncomfortable. Very sad. The other thing
makes me uncomfortable.
The other thing that really upset me is Trash Bag World. The black void world he created by just plastering trash bags up in his garage.
That's a great point. Yeah.
That was like very, very uncomfortable for me every time we had to go back there.
Trash Bag World.
But the other thing about these movies that I thought was so funny with the trash bag thing, where it's like, oh, you just like figured out you could just plaster black trash bags around and a camera won't pick up anything but you. Like, okay, cool, whatever. You're doing your thing. You're making movies. But there's a scene where he's looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
And he walks away from the mirror, and it does that trick where he's like still in the mirror, even though he's not.
Yeah.
And that's with this movie, and like a lot of movies in this category, it's like, oh, while you were making this movie, someone showed you how to do that, so you were like, I gotta put this in my movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's gonna really tip it over.
And there's a lot of other scenes like that where it's like you'll have a character like sitting in a chair, and we'll fade to the same shot, but there's no one in the chair. or like the random businessman's
Old
feet
lady.
that walk in and out of scenes and then fade away.
With the blood? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the old lady who like fades away at the end, and I felt like that was very much out of Twin Peaks. Yeah, listen. I really there's so much to say, and I've just got nothing else.
Okay.
Like let me speak for Brennan. I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you talked about like having us on the podcast again, and I'm like, I don't know how to like block you fast enough. I think is truly the real answer here.
If I recommend you something that like strictly art house A24, will you come back?
Well, no. I mean, once again, motherfucker, I can't believe I like genuinely tried to find a movie you hadn't seen that was like good, and then you both. Fucking like I've got like Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren on the podcast with me, rat fucking me from both sides over here.
All right, Bernie.
God damn it,
Bernie. It was a lot of fun talking about your super serious movie. That was the most fun part of the podcast. You're right.
All right. So, if any, I guess is that our final thoughts on Fateful Findings, or do we want to anything else we want to say?
I'm done. In the words of Daniel Day-Lewis and fucking There Will Be Blood, I'm finished. All right.
Well, yeah. I just want to say, if you truly need to experience Neal Breen, the supercuts of his films are way more enjoyable. Because, like, what Jacob was talking about the drinking game, the supercut I watched is literally just, like, they took all the scenes you would drink normally at, they cut out all the other garbage, and they mixed it all together, so you get, like, 40 minutes of awesome, wild shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think that's the way you should experience this guy if you're going to.
Okay. I agree.
You're an alcoholic.
Yeah,
yes,
no,
I understand.
and if anyone else is listening that's interested, I think on my channel right now I do have 2 of those watch parties I hosted with some friends where we checked out this movie and his first movie, Double Down, and I'm pretty sure we were also playing along the drinking game at both. So if you want to get a good sense of what these movies are before you check them out for yourself, then check those out as well. But
yeah, I'm gonna go comment on those right now.
Rob found a way to copy and paste commas into swastikas, so he's like just dropping that.
Wait,
all over your feed
Jacob,
right
I got
now.
a question. You recorded like the whole watch party? Like it's like an hour or so. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So
what I did was I sat down and I just had this recorder going, and then I cut it down to like the best like 10-15 minutes of it. So it's not literally just it's not a commentary track straight through. It's literally just the moments where we all lost our shit. Yeah,
I was gonna say, if you're gonna watch these movies, you should listen to Jacob's commentary so that when you kill yourself, at least it will be to the sultry voice of Jake.
The sound of my horrible Seth Rogen laugh as you. Well, I was gonna say,
no. If you kill yourself but you put headphones on, you'll think you're dying to Seth Rogen laugh.
As you get elected to become a corrupt senator and then lock yourself in a car and turn on the gasoline.
Those senators looked ragged. Those were not senators.
Two of them shot themselves in the head.
Homeless people.
Like he couldn't think of enough ways for them to kill themselves either.
Yeah.
Like 2 of them blew their brains out.
And he had to show a sniper trying to kill him. He had to show the fact that he also people were trying to stop him.
He sees it and is like uninterrupted by it during his speech.
One of the quotes, like, when people see what I've been working on, they're gonna see the way they should really be seeing things. Like, it's
what I have found will shock you.
Seriously, I have nothing other to say about the movie than he needs to go to jail. Like,
yeah. Agreed.
I'm a strong disagree. Anything that he makes, I'm gladly gonna see any way I can. He has a new movie coming out, Twisted Pair Part 2. The release date to be determined.
He's on his sequels now.
Yeah,
he's built the universe up enough that he's on his sequels.
His last movie, literally, Twisted Pair, it ends with a fucking Avengers. Neal Breen will return in Twisted Pair Part 2. So
pass.
Not only that, but so he funded movies 1, 2, 3, and the first 3 movies he funded by himself. He crowdfunded his fourth movie, Pass Through. I think he crowdfunded Pass Through and Twisted Pair, and now he's actually asking for studio support for Twisted Pair Part 2. So I don't know.
Like,
hopefully we can see.
This person has a mental illness.
Hopefully we can see.
You shouldn't be encouraging this behavior, Jacob.
I want to live in a world where we see A24 as Twisted Pair Part 2.
Listen, if it takes like the world we're living in right now versus like more Neal Breen, I truly hope coronavirus takes us. I'm done with this whole thing.
All right.
Jacob, thanks so much for having us on the podcast, man.
Of course, man. Yeah, thank you guys for coming out. This is the most fun I've had in a long time. Given all the shit that's been going on in the world, I'd love to have you guys on again. We joked that if and when this all blows over, but definitely I am in a huge rush to get you guys on again.